Hi, and welcome to SEO Hangouts with Josh Bachynski. That would be me. I won't be joshing you about SEO information. I hate that. So today I have, today is July 25th, and it is Christmas in July. That's right, I'm wearing my Christmas colors, and it is Christmas, or what I like to call SEO-mas in July. And for it's a completely made-up holiday. And for this completely made-up holiday, I will be providing for you, and you only, one time. Google has recently leaked the quality rating document, or the quality raters document. They've leaked it a couple times. It's been leaked a couple times, but it was just recently leaked on March 12th, and it was completely updated and completely revamped and completely rewritten, like entirely. So it's extremely important, and I might have perhaps, possibly, seen some kind of copy of a copy on some website somewhere. So I didn't see the original. I saw some copy, a copy. So don't sue me, Google. Don't sue me. But I have taken a look at the document. And just for you today, I'm going to focus for you on some of the most important points that I saw. It's huge and it's extremely important. And I found it is extremely telling. It sounds almost verbatim like what John Mueller and Matt Cutts and Wiz and those guys have been saying, what I've been saying with my own twist on it, because I don't work for Google, so I can open my mouth and say things. You know, it's extremely important. So I'm going to give you two things out of this that I thought were really important. I'm going to give you a bit of a preamble, and I'm going to give you the high quality, what makes a page high quality, and what makes a page low quality. The checklist, essentially, the checklist, maybe even the Panda checklist, and I'll explain why I think that in a second, of what makes a site high quality, check mark, check mark, check mark, and what makes a site low quality, check mark, check mark, check mark. And you can go through, you can listen to this video, you can go through and listen to the high quality and the low quality, and you can determine if your pages and your site you think are high quality or low quality according to this document. So that's my gift for you on SEO-mas in July. Okay, so moving right on to that. So, as I said, the Google Quality Raters guideline was completely rewritten. It was released in March. And let me give you a quick reason. So it is for their quality raters. If you don't know, Google has a bunch of quality raters. These are people, human beings, who they have thousands of them, and they go and they rate the quality of pages. And this is how Google trains their quality algorithms, aka Panda. Maybe a few other ones, the page layout algorithm, maybe Payday Loans is a quality algorithm. They call it a spam algorithm, so I think it's a quality algorithm. So the only two that I know about are Panda and Payday Loans. Panda and the page layout algorithm. And they use these human quality raters to literally train their algorithms. So what it says in and whatever they're saying in this document, I can tell you is exactly what they say Panda is looking for as well. So these are two very strong pieces of evidence that tell us that whatever it says in the Google Quality Raters guideline, either they have human beings rating it for them, and there's some speculation that they have far more, and they do far more than you think, or at the very least, these are the people who are literally training the machine learning algorithms such as Panda to train them what to look for. So you can guarantee, I bet you all the money I will make this year, that, all the $10 I'll make this year. No, I make $20. I'll bet you all the money that I make this year that if Google can track it, if there's any way you could feasibly understand Google tracking that metric online, and don't forget, they have $40 billion worth of profit a year. So I wouldn't err on the side of they can't. That was like a way of looking at it in like the early 2000s. I would err on the side of it that they can, and that they have all the information that you want. And trust me, I've had talks with various Google employees, and I know, and I cannot release, but entirely, I have partially, but trust me, they can get all the data that they want to get, okay? So you can bet your bottom dollar that this list of high quality and low quality stuff that I'm about to talk about and leak to you, only you, here, this one time only. I'll delete the video in a week. No, just kidding. I'll leave the video out. But you can bet that if there's any way you can imagine them tracking that, they're tracking it, right? They have over 600 signals for ranking, indexing, and crawling, and I recently asked John Mueller if he could split down which is which, and he wouldn't. He refused to do so. And so, it could be like 400 for ranking, 100 for indexing, and 100 for crawling. They could have literally like They have said recently they have hundreds and hundreds of signals for web search. So, and John Mueller did say very quickly that that they are using a diversity of signals now. They're not using just links and on-page specificity. It's not that anymore. They're using signals to verify signals to verify signals. They're using cross signals, largely because of what their quality raters found in this very important, very secret, crucial to SEO for 2015 document. So I'm going to get right to the document, but please, while you're listening to me, when I'm telling you the high quality list and low quality list, a bit of preamble first and the high quality list and low quality list. Don't forget that this is how they're training Panda. This is how they're training their quality algorithms. And I do think this is how their algorithms are working. And I have lots of evidence to prove it. I have case studies to prove it. And I have John Mueller. I have direct Google leaks to prove it. So without further ado then, let's get to these lists and see what maybe they're looking at and how you can improve your pages and your sites based on these two lists. Okay, so don't forget that. Okay, so first off, here's the preamble. So here's the preamble. First off, they say that, and I'm just going to go through it. There's tons of this, so if I want to get through this in half an hour, I'm just going to go, and so you're going to have to rewind and listen to it again in parts. And it's not going to be, it's just going to be kind of a puke. I'm going to puke SEO knowledge right at your face, and just, I'm going to go through the whole thing. Okay, so first off, they say, and don't forget, that every page needs a purpose. They say this point blank. That every page needs a purpose. And they say, and I quote, most pages are created to be helpful for users. Some pages are created merely to make money with little or no effort to help users. And it's very clear throughout the entire document that Panda likes the former, pages that are helpful for users. Panda hates the latter. Panda, and I've long suspected this and long seen evidence for this, that Panda is suspect to any page that is trying to make money. Quite frankly, bluntly. And any page that is trying to make money, those pages are called your money or your life pages. Google calls those pages YMYL, your money or your life pages. It's kind of a joke, right? So it's if they're saying they're holding up a gun to you, these pages that are trying to sell to you aggressively, they're saying your money or your life, right? It's kind of like, copper, that kind of thing. But it's also to remind these quality raters and their webmaster team people that the pages that have anything to do with getting money from people or anything to do with guiding them on their life, any kind of page that is helping you or trying to make you make an important life decision, these are the kinds of pages that are held to the highest standard. And they have they are second-class citizens in a sense. They are held to even a higher standard than all the other pages. So if you want to break it down into the old Quality Raters document that they leaked a couple of years ago and has been consistent for a number of leaks, they've leaked it for years, this document, I've read every single one. And in every single one before this one, they are very big on breaking down queries, search queries, into knowledge queries, do queries are queries where they want to verb something, they want to do something, and navigational queries where they're just looking for the website. Like if they search yahoo.com, presumably they want to go to yahoo.com. So the knowledge queries and the do queries, the informational queries are looking for information, the do queries are looking to do something. It's on the do queries and some of the knowledge queries where these are your money or life pages are being held to a much higher standard. So again, I'm going to be throwing a lot of terms at you. Again, go back and watch the video again. This is going to be an extremely important video because it's going over the extremely important leak from Google. Okay, so remember, every page has to have a purpose. So the page has to complete its purpose better than all your other competitors. It has to help the users, has to inform them, it has to impress them, it has to please them, it has to interest them, it could even overwhelm them or stupefy them, right? It has to not only inform them, it has to evoke some kind of emotion so that they share it. And that you'll have other experts and enthusiasts talking about it, which I'll get to in a second, which they mention directly in this document. Okay, so the goal of rating a page is to determine how well a page achieves its purpose. Remember, Google thinks completely in terms of what is the purpose of a page. And we've heard Google talking about this already when it comes to task completion. Every page has to have a purpose. If there are pages on your site that don't have a purpose, you better know, or are not completing their purpose better as well as or better than your competitors, then you better no index those pages right away. Because quite frankly, Google does not care. They're not your friend. Cuts is not your buddy. John Mueller is not your friend. However friendly he is on his Hangouts, he's not really your friend. Google does not give two shites whether or not your pages have a purpose or are completing them, but they will demote them if they're not. They can detect in any way they're not. And they will promote them if they can detect in any way that they are. Okay, and so they say the goal of the rating document is to determine how, and the goal of rating pages, period, is to determine how well a page achieves its purpose. And they have very different standards for different types of pages. And this is a direct quote, and websites and pages, which are from the copy of a copy of a copy I read. So I didn't read the original document, so I didn't break any copyrights or any confidential stuff. Google. Websites and pages which are created with intent to harm users, deceive users, or make money with no attempt to help users. I repeat, they're saying that any pages which are created with intent to harm users, to deceive them in any way, or to make money with no attempt to help users will receive a very low page quality rating. So, guys, any herbal niche, any affiliate niche, right? Any niche where you're selling snake oil, or they can even think you're selling snake oil, or this new product, or anything like that. Payday loans, any casino, any of the pills, any of those kinds of things. But it doesn't only apply to these things. It applies to any page which is asking them to spend money. They're held to the highest standard, and they have to help the user. So you can't really just have a sales page anymore. If you just have a sales page, you're going to have to go PPC. You're going to have to go media buys. You're going to have to go buying ads, buying traffic, that kind of a route. It's going to be, it's not that you can't rank them organically. You can, but you have to do so under the guise of helping users. So I can't stress this enough how important this is. And I've been saying this for well over a year. Google's been saying this for well over a year. But this document really spells it out in no uncertain terms. Okay, so your Money or Life pages, what can that include? It includes any online stores, any e-commerce store, any e-commerce page. Any page that has a shopping cart is your Money or Your Life page. It's held to this higher standard. Any page that is a medical page, any page that tells you about diseases, drugs, herbal supplements, or nutrition. So this is going to include any herbal supplement niche, any of those pages, the somatropin this, Gen F20 that. They're all going to be held to this Your Money or Your Life higher standard. You all have to put them under the guise of helping users. And affiliates in these niches have known this for years, right? For many years, the most effective affiliate page for these kinds of niches has been the review site. And you had to give your own 2 cents, your own kind of review, your own kind of either it's a scam and then you backdoor sell them, or it's great, I love it. But you really got to make it sound personable. You really got to make it sound like it's not just copy and pasted from any other site. Those kinds of things. This includes also any lawyer site. Lawyer sites are not included in that. Don't sue me, lawyers. But your lawyer sites are also considered Your Money or Your Life sites. So any kind of lawyer site, any kind of real estate site, any kind of site where they're making a life decision from a health or money related, a big purchasing decision, any site that has an online store. It says it directly in the document. And I quote, shopping or financial transaction pages, web pages which allow users to make purchases, transfer money, pay bills, etc. online, such as online stores and online banking pages. So I would say any e-commerce page is going to be held to that higher standard of Your Money or Your Life. So, quite frankly, if you're going to be in any of those brands, you must be squeaky clean and modern. These are my words, my interpretation. You have to be squeaky clean. You have to look modern. You have to be new. You have to be good. You have to be non-salesy, as possible. Really have to soft sell it if you want to stay really far away from these quality problems. You have to have a good, short, memorable brand name that people can look up. And I wouldn't just rely on EMD. Quite frankly, I would go with a broad match. So if I wanted to sell red apples, if red apples was my herbal product I wanted to sell, right? I wouldn't get buyredapples.com. That is a direct sales-based, obviously sales intent site, where if I'm going to have that, you better have every single person online saying you're wonderful and you're great, and that nobody gives you any negative reviews whatsoever. It might be, and if there's already anybody out there, or if it's sold on Walmart and Amazon as well, you will never be able to defeat them. John Mueller has admitted point blank, you will never outrank Walmart, you will never outrank Amazon, you will never outrank eBay unless eBay gets a penalty. But unless barring the unforeseen and unlikely circumstance that these guys are going to get some kind of penalty from Google, which will be fixed in a week, John Mueller has admitted point blank, you will never outrank them. And quite frankly, they don't think you should ever outrank them because these are big, huge brands. They're trusted, or as trusted as big, huge brands get. And so it's a safer bet for Google to rank them higher. So, again, you can watch my previous videos if you want more information on that. If I'm going too fast, please watch this again because it's really important information. But it's like hundreds of pages long, so there's it's chock full of good information. And if you have any questions about it before I forget, you can email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can watch my previous videos at youtube.com/jbachins. And you can follow me at Twitter at joshbachynski, where I also share some sneaky little things. Okay, so getting back to this document. I am by no means done. I'm not even close to being done. So there's tons more important information. Instead of an EMD, I would go with a broad match or a partial match domain. So instead of buyredapples.com, I might go with Josh's Fruit Emporium. It's catchy, it's kitschy, people will remember it, they'll search it, they'll click on it in the search. It might be easier for them to share it or recommend it. At the very least, it's broad match, so Google's semantic relation will know that you're in the fruit category, right? Selling red apples. Red apples is a metaphor. Use your imagination if it's law, if it's real estate, if it's whatever. And you might come off appearing as more of a knowledge site than a purchase site because the purchase sites are going to be more strenuously tested as opposed to a knowledge site where you're just informing users. They still can be in your money or your life category as well and held to a very high standard, but it might be a little bit easier to soft sell them or backdoor sell them than going for the hard sell. Hard sell type sites are going to have a harder time. This document shows that hard sell type sites are going to have a harder and harder time ranking in Google because they're not helping the user. They're just trying to sell them or perhaps even possibly deceive them. Or it could be construed that way. Okay, so in order to get a high page quality rating, they also talk about your main content and your supplemental content. So every page that wants a high quality rating is going to have a clear main content or a clear purpose for that main content. So you have to have a clear purpose for the page, the main content of that page, wherever the main content is on the right or left side, the main content of that page, the biggest section, if you will, has to be clearly serving that purpose and providing good quality main content. And it also needs a good quality supplemental content. Smaller sites don't need an important supplemental content, they say in the document, but bigger sites will need useful and interesting or engaging supplemental content, like top 5 tips in the supplemental content or top 5 best things on this site. It can't be too distracting, so you can't have big flashing, supplemental content. Or some guys like this scrolling bar at the bottom. Unfortunately, I used to like it, but it's just getting a little too spammy these days if it takes away from the main content too much. So you want the main content to be the main focus. And the supplemental content can get their attention, but only after the main content kind of serves its purpose. Okay, don't forget that they're talking a lot about supplemental information that you need to have. This is a very important quote I found here. It said, you must also look for reputation information about the website. We need to find out what outside independent sources say about the website. When there is disagreement between what the website says about itself and what independent sources say about the website, we'll trust the independent sources. I repeat, when your website looks like it's great quality, but they find other websites that say that you're a scam or that you suck or talk about you in a negative sense, and they directly have an algorithm to track this, it's called the bad merchant algorithm, they will trust the independent sources. They say this directly, verbatim, point blank. And so, again, I think this is part of Panda. I think this document is used to train the human beings that are used to train Panda. So if they can find any, reputation is everything. If they can find any bad reputation about you, even if you're otherwise a great site, it's invalidated. It won't be counted because they're using algorithms to check other algorithms, right? To make it harder and harder for people to spam them. Okay, so remember, that means if you're bragging about your site, you have to make it look legit, right? If you're going to go put posts out there, you're going to make fake reviews, it has to be legitimate looking reviews, validated or somehow third-party validated in some way. So don't just make reviews about yourself. Ask your happy customers for reviews, so it's organic reviews, or at the very least, hire college students in your local area that all have independent Google accounts, and I've had them for years. You know, pay them whatever, $10 to give you a positive review, and do that for 20 or 40 or 50. Have more positive reviews than your competitors anyway. And they all have to be in your area, so you can't go onto one of these Fiverr things and get a bunch of people in the Philippines to do it for you, unless you happen to be in the Philippines. Because otherwise, they can smell that and they can detect that a mile away, right? If they are going to use these signals, and I guarantee to you that they are also going to have spam protection built into these signals. Matt Cutts and I have talked about that directly and personally about it. The trials and tribulations of having spam signals, not just for web search, but for Twitter, for Facebook, for all these other networks, for Disquist, for Dig, for Reddit, for all for the review systems, for Yelp, for Zagat, for all these other systems, right? That if they're going to use these signals, they also have to in some way police the spam on these signals as well, and have to get rid of any signals that look suspect. Okay, you also have to remember that means that because reputation is so important, you have to police your online. You have to police your online reputation. You have to do a search for your own brand. If you see any scam this or BBB, Better Business Bureau, bad rating that, showing up on your SERP talking about you, you have to get them taken down. You have to email them, ask them to take it down. You have to follow their guidelines. Usually these sites have a way of getting that removed. You have to pay them if you have to pay them. You know, even if you could do negative SEO on some of those listings, and you can, to get them knocked down, theoretically, hypothetically it is possible. Email me if you want to academically, hypothetically, theoretically talk about it. It's possible to get those listings knocked down off to the bottom of the SERP, even potentially, possibly off the SERP. It has nothing to do with building links. Building link negative SEO only works, Matt Cutts told me to my face. Matt Cutts he directly said to me that negative SEO from links will work, but it has to be a site that has already been spamming links for many, many years, which is just about everybody. So that means link-based negative SEO could work on people who have been consistently spamming links to themselves, sitting exact match links on their exact niche they want to rank for many years. But on squeaky clean sites, it's not going to work. Or sites with a really good reputation, it's not going to work as well. Anyway, that's not how you would do it. Like, you're not going to do that to the Better Business Bureau if you happen to get a bad rating from them, for example. That's not going to work. And it's not going to, so, and even if you could get it knocked down off the SERP so that people are not seeing it, still, Panda is still going to see it, right? I am strongly convinced that Panda is looking at these third-party recommendation signals as part of the quality algorithm. And John Mueller has stopped saying that it's an on-site. There's just so much evidence to suggest what this is. Email me if you want the evidence, or watch my previous videos at youtube.com/jbachynski, J-B-A-C-H-Y-N-S. So my point is that even if you could negative SEO to get those listings down so human beings are not seeing it, it doesn't mean Panda is still going to see it, and Panda is still going to know, and the bad merchant algorithm is still going to see it and still going to know. So I guess that's another quality algorithm. So I guess I know of three: bad merchant, Panda, and page layout. Those quality algorithms are still going to see it and still going to know that you have third-party, verified negative reputation. So you've got to email them, try to get it taken down, follow their rules and regulations. Most of these sites have rules and regulations to get that stuff taken down. If they don't, get a lawyer to send a cease and desist, or just get a stock cease and desist letter online. Pretend like you're a lawyer, send it to them. It'll be cheaper that way. That could scare them enough to get it taken down. Although most of these, quite frankly, most of these scam sites, these big scam sites, and Better Business Bureau, they don't give two craps if you send them a letter from a lawyer. They say, look at, this is our listing. You know, you have to have a really good lawyer, or, spend a lot of money, or send them an actual lawsuit, or something like that. And it might be the cheapest, easiest way to get it taken down. That, or if it's quicker and easier, if you're just a small business or you just started up, blow away the business and restart. It could be much easier that way. Or start up a new website with a new kind of product name or a new kind of brand. Just start up another website and get that built up. And, if you get a kitschy brand that people like and they share a lot, you can get a ranking in a week. But it really has to be shared quite a bit. It really has to be emotion-provoking for them, either positively or possibly negatively, but positively. And it's really got to, be really creative marketing and get them to share it a lot. And if you start a new website doing that, you can get a ranking in a week. But you got to be creative. So if you want to talk about how to do that, by all means, you contact me. Okay, so moving on. I got to get to this high quality, low quality list here. Okay. They do reputation research. They look at things like Wikipedia, news articles, blog posts, magazine articles. They look at forum discussions. They look at Yelp. I'm quoting this directly from them. Better Business Bureau. They look at Amazon. They look at Google Product Search. This is all the places they look at to get positive reviews or positive indications, evidence of positive stuff or negative stuff. Don't forget they're also looking at whether or not you have any real-world accolades, such as, I know this is going to be difficult, but I'm just saying it so you get an idea. They do look at the minor watchdog sites like scam reports, as I said. They're looking at major sites mostly like Wikipedia. If you have any real-world accolades like prizes or anything you've won, any kind of industry-related thing that you've won, any kind of prize you've won, any kind of certificate you've gotten, or any kind of anything like that, any kind of accolades you have whatsoever, make sure you make a Wikipedia page, and make sure it's on your Wikipedia page, and make sure on your Wikipedia page you only have factual stuff on there. In fact, contact me, because I have a contact who works for Wikipedia and who's an admin, or find an admin who will make a post for you, and they know the rules to follow, and usually it's fairly cheap, relatively, depending on what you consider is cheap. And they will make a post for you, because Wikipedia, make sure it only says positive things about you on Wikipedia. If it says negative things about you, complain, say it's abuse, get it taken down. And it includes any other place, right? Okay, and if you can, and make sure Wikipedia is factual. So if you can win any industry-related prizes or any industry-related awards, make sure they're listed on Wikipedia. I wouldn't put it past them to have an algorithm to determine that. I'm dead serious. It wouldn't be that hard. And they're so good at semantic latent indexing already for them to realize that you have, it says award or prize, or they know what these pages are about. They basically know what these pages are saying. Google's algorithm is already as smart as like a 3 or 4-year-old, like an orangutan, right? So that understands language. Orangutans don't understand language unless you teach them sign language. And this was a study that came out well over a year ago that showed that Matt Cutts tweeted, that showed that their AI is already that smart. So don't be like, yeah, they can't see it. Trust me. If there's a bad Wikipedia page about you, take it down. If you don't have a good one, put a good one up there with facts, because otherwise it'll be taken down by Wikipedia. Facts about all the good stuff you have. Okay, now we're moving on to the quality pages. Jesus, I'm already 27 minutes in. Okay, well, this is going to be an hour hangout then, because quite frankly, this is too important information. It was pretty foolish of me to think that I could get through it in half an hour. So I apologize for you people who don't like an hour-long video. I have a solution. Just press stop now. Go do your stuff. Go to sleep. Tomorrow wake up, brush your teeth, do your stuff, and then come back and watch the rest. That's my solution if you don't like an hour-long video. Okay, so here is the high-quality stuff. It's interesting to note that they have 9 levels of quality from Google. The qualities go from lowest, lowest plus, low, low plus, medium, medium plus, high, high plus, and highest. So there's 9 levels of quality. Count them, 9. You want to be high or highest. It's relative, of course. You know, if your competitors are all medium, then if you're medium plus, then that's going to be a bonus for you, right? But you want to be as high as possible on that list. So the question is, and now I'm going to get into what makes a page high quality, what makes a page low quality. So I'm going to get more to a list here for you. So get your checkboard out and write these down and see if you think your pages will have all the high quality factors and none of the low quality factors. Remembering everything I said in the preamble. Okay, so high quality pages are satisfying or achieve their purpose well. Your page has to have a purpose. If you don't have one, they will give it to you. They will choose you, either a knowledge page or a do page. It has to clearly saying that purpose in your title. So if you can buy there, you have to say you order here, or it's an information page, so something of review or something, top 5 things about blah. You have to clearly say, show in your title that it's a knowledge or a do page, or whatever the purpose of the page is, that's what they can do there. And then you have to satisfy that promise, right? It's like the title is an advertisement for what they're going to get, then you have to give them what they want, what they thought they were going to get on that page. Okay, so then, other than that preamble, what makes a page a high quality page? Here are all the factors they use to determine if it's a high quality page. A high quality page rating, you won't get one unless you have at least one of the following high quality characteristics. You have to have a satisfying amount of high quality main content. Whatever the purpose of that page is, the main content has to have a satisfying amount of content. And by satisfying, you can't let them bounce back to Google, right? This is how they're trying to track that. If it's too thin and it's not providing enough information, they're going to bounce back to Google and click another result. That's not what you want. It has to fully answer the question, and I would have a summary at the top saying, whatever. Red apples are great because they are red. They're healthy. They're cheap. Whatever your virtues of whatever thing you're talking about, you have to summarize it at the top because people are lazy, and it has to be above the fold, and it can't have too many ads all over the place. I'll get to that. Okay, the page and website have to be written, are expert, authoritative, and trustworthy for the topic of the page. So this is this EAT thing they're talking about. I'll get to in a second. It has to be written by an expert. It has to be authoritative. There has to be other reputation pointing to it being authoritative. Authoritative and trustworthy mean the same thing. Off-site recommendations and the expert thing I'll talk about in a second. It has to have a good reputation. Also, the page has to have most of this. It has to have a satisfying amount of website information, as I said, but not only on page, but across the entire website. For example, you need About Us information, and the more important your site, the more About Us information you need. You need a mission statement on the About Us information, telling them what the page is about. You have to have a lot of contact information, many different ways they can contact you. For a smaller site, a mom and pop site, they say in the document that an email address will suffice. A simple email address or a simple contact form will not suffice for a major site. So I would just say, assume you're a major site, where they're going to hold you to that standard if in doubt, and have your address, your contact information, different people who work for you, different ways of getting a hold of you. You have to have what they say, your supplementary content has to contribute to a satisfying user experience on that page and on the website, and the main content has to contribute to a satisfying user experience. You have to have, and I quote, a functional page design, which allows users to easily focus on the main content and use the supplemental content as desired. And the website has to be well cared for and maintained. So that means you have to update it on a regular basis. You have to have, last updated by listed somewhere there. I would even have a date signal on the title so people know that it's current. There could be an algorithm tracking that alone, right? And you have to update it every few months, especially if you're in a news niche or any niche where the information changes on a regular basis. If in doubt, I would change it. Quite frankly, there's going to be a gray area where they don't know whether or not that should be updated or not. So I would update it, quite frankly. I wouldn't say, it'll be fine. You should never in SEO take the, it will be fine tactic, right? That used to be the way it is in 2005 when they were being forgiving and they didn't have any negative factors. They don't anymore. So now you have to cross all the I's and dot all the T's. Or whatever. Nothing. Okay. How do they judge high quality and main quality content? It has to have at least one of the following. And I quote, it has to have time, effort, expertise, or talent and skill. And so any way that they can track that by your author rank, by your expert rank, by all the people talking about you, who you talk about and interact with on social, they're going to track that, right? So, and they say this, and this is very interesting, listen to this. So they say, for example, if the page is a product page on a store website, they're talking to human beings, put at least one product in the cart and see if the shopping cart is functioning. Or if the page is an online game, spend a few minutes playing it. Now, of course, we can debate all day whether or not they have a quality rating team that is actually going out and rating your pages and that Google is using that directly in algorithms. They say they're not, and I don't think that they are, although there's some evidence in this document which would suggest that they might, and a lot of people like Pop Pine Girl has speculated that they might as well. I don't think that they are, but I could very easily see them writing an algorithm that would try the shopping cart. It's very easy. The algorithm will just try to load up the Panda could very, very easily check to see if the shopping cart at least loads. You can put a product on it and you get a positive response. That's dead easy to write. And if they think it's important enough to put in this document, they think it's important enough to check, right? So again, that might be making sure your shopping cart works is just, if it doesn't work, you're going to have a problem anyway. Or if it's obtuse or hard to use, you're going to have a problem anyway. So, and I have talked to John Mueller about that tracking conversions would be a great ranking signal, and he agrees. He says, yeah. He says it will be, and we would love to track that any way we can, because it would be great if you have a site that converts. then that's what it is they want to rank. So they're going to be trying to find ways to rank that, and this could be one of the ways. So I thought it'd be interesting to mention that because it's right in the document. Okay, so this expertise, authoritative, and trustworthiness, this EAT acronym, what does this mean? Well, if you want to ask how to get it, I'm going to mention it here. They say, and I quote, for example, high-quality medical advice should come from people or organizations that have the appropriate medical expertise or accreditation. And the site has to be updated and reviewed on a regular basis. So, for example, if you want to be giving information on medical niches, you have to get it written by confirmed medical doctors. These medical doctors have to be listed somewhere, not just say MD on the site, because that'd be too easy to do. But it should say that on the site. Not only that, but you should link on your site to where the doctors are listed in some accredited third-party site, like a list of doctors, not just doctordirectory.com, but wherever, the Mayo Clinic or wherever it is they work, the doctor you've gotten to vouch for your content, you should link to the official listing of the doctor certified listing of where they're listed. Not only will it be good for human beings to see it, but who knows, the algorithms could very well be looking at that as well. That's how author rank works, right? Remember, you don't just have to use Google Plus for your author snippet. The author algorithm, you can use your bio page on Search Engine Land or whatever, and Google will track that. They have an algorithm to track that. So they already have it written to track authors. There's no reason why they can't track doctors this way or experts. And you can extend this metaphor to any niche, right? Any niche at all. Okay, so essentially, that's a big long thing here. I'm not even going to read it. It's expertise. Again, you can go back and watch my videos on what I think, I'm going to call it enthusiast rank, because it's not just authors, not using the author snippet, and it's not just experts. It's enthusiasts. They're tracking people who are interested in topic XYZ. They're tracking where they surf and what they go to and look at. They're tracking the social forums where they talk and what they're talking about. And so they can be a big enthusiast, like an expert. And they're also tracking websites that talk about these things that people visit. So you want to get these people talking about you, not only the people, but the websites, right? And this is the kind of thing that they're tracking. I've talked about this a lot in other previous videos, so I'll just point you one of those previous videos if you want to listen more about that. But essentially, this is what they're looking for the EAT acronym, that your pages have to have, your authors have to have expertise, experts have to be looking at you, talking about you, and you have to have third-party recommendations from these social accounts and from these forums, from these blogs, from Wikipedia, from Better Business Bureau. For all these sites have to be talking about you positively and not negatively. Okay, and on to that point, again, reputation is everything. They say, while a page can merit the high rating with no reputation, the high rating cannot be used on any website that has a convincing negative reputation. I repeat, this is a direct quote from them, that you can get a high rating with no reputation because it's a good quality page that achieves its purpose well. Designed well, fast, gives the information, not too many ads, etc. But you cannot have a high rating. Panda cannot rank you highly if you have a convincing negative reputation out there. So again, they say this, not the Panda thing, it's my interpretation, but they say for quality, you can't get a high quality rating if you have a convincing negative reputation out there. And again, they say, if you have one or two people out there who are complaining about you, that's not a problem. But if you have big, high quality sites, official sites complaining about you, or enough people, or experts complaining about you, or enough people complaining about you, so that when you do a search in Google, it comes up on the first page, that is a problem. And that's the kind of thing that's going to nail you for Panda. That's a part of Panda that nobody is telling you to check, except for me. And now everyone else, when they listen to my video. The 300 people who listen to it on a regular basis. Okay, so remember, even if you have a really good high quality site, if you have a negative reputation out there, it will invalidate all your work. Okay, moving on. I'm still in the high quality list here of all the things that you need to be high quality. You also need to have what they call functional page design. For example, your page has to be designed to achieve your purpose. They have to be well organized, they have to use space effectively, and they have to have a functional overall layout. So, and I'll go down to their specific points. For example, the main content should be prominently displayed front and center, quote unquote. That means you can't have any egregious ads or pop-ups. The main content should be immediately visible when a user opens the page. That means the main content has to be above the fold. Otherwise, they'll scroll or they'll bounce or they'll track it. This will be a problem. It should be clear what the main content actually is. The page design, the organization, and the use of space, as well as the choice of the font size, the background, etc., should make the main content very clear. Again, otherwise users will get annoyed and they'll click back and this will be a problem. Ads and supplementary content, otherwise known as side content or bottom content, should be arranged as such so that it does not distract from the main content. Ads and supplementary content are there should the user want them, but they should be easily, quote unquote, ignorable if the user is not interested. Again, this is almost verbatim from this copy of a copy I read. So this is very important. And quite frankly, it should be clear what parts of the page are ads, either by explicitly labeling them or simply by the page organization and design. So it's interesting to note that they said the design doesn't have to be pretty, but it is better if it's modern and it looks new. The user has to trust you. And so if it's a design from 1997, it must be clear and functional and doesn't look too 1997-ish. Because human beings have to trust you because they're tracking what human beings do when they go to your site. If they click back, if they click some other result, if they don't like the information and they're not sharing you, or if they say something out there, say, yeah, they're great, but they have a crappy design, they're tracking negative intent. And again, they can do it, but not so well. So you don't want any negative stuff out there about you at all. Okay, and so they also have a rating called highest quality. So what do you have to do if you want to be the highest quality rating? If you want to be the highest quality rating, it's much lower, much smaller, and I'll get to the low quality factors in a second. The highest quality rating, what makes a page highest quality? They require at least one of the following. You have to have very high or the highest quality main content with demonstrated expertise, talent, and or skill. You have to have a very high level of expertise, so you have to have the biggest social profiles or the biggest websites in that niche talking about you. You have to have the highest authoritativeness and the highest trustworthiness. Not only on that page, but for the website in general. So not only does that page have to have the highest expert, authority, and trustworthiness signals, but the entire website has to, otherwise you won't get the highest rating. And you have to have a very good reputation for the website or author on the topic of the page. So you can't have any negative talk about the website, and you can't have any negative talk out there about the author either. So all the authors who contribute to the site and the experts who contribute to the site, they all have to have the highest reputation as well. So that could very well mean that no one can be talking bad about them either. That might be entirely possible. Their algorithms could very well be smart enough to detect that. So I would be very careful if one of your highest contributors suddenly, do a search for their names, and if anything bad comes up on the first page for their name, you might want to remove them from your site as a contributor. You can leave the article there, put someone else, or just remove it, because it could be hurting you. It could very well be hurting you. That's speculation on my part, but it could very well be true. If you've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's on everything else, and you're looking for stuff to do, that could be something you could do, and it's actionable, right? Okay, so you might be asking, how do you get the highest possible reputation? Again, Wikipedia and other informational sources can be a good starting point for reputation research. Again, popularity, user engagement, user reviews are all going to be considered as evidence. Let's say this point blank. Popularity, user engagement, and user reviews are all going to be considered evidence of good reputation. So these are my recommendations on this. Again, make yourself a Wikipedia page. Speak factually and positively about yourself. These are the last high quality things that I mentioned. Other highly recognized no-follow business directories may help as well. Make sure the link is no-follow so it doesn't look like you're buying the link. But as long as they're like the Better Business Bureau or Chamber of Commerce, I mean like a really high level, you have to pay to get in it kind of a thing. As long as they're talking about positive things about you, newspapers, all those charities, all those kinds of things. And for example, they mentioned a BMI calculator page. Even if you have a BMI calculator page, this is in their mind considered, this is directly from them, from Google, this is considered a Your Money or Your Life page, a BMI calculator page. So If you're advising on any health or any money whatsoever, don't forget, or if anyone's making a purchase on your site, that you're considered a your money or life site and you're held to a higher standard. And you have to have all those high quality factors that I talked about. Okay, now, what makes, in the last bit of the video here, I'm almost done. What makes a page a low quality page? They have a huge list, and it's more listy, so I can just kind of go through them. So get your checkboard out, because this is what makes a page, according to Google's quality rating document, this is what makes a page a low quality page. All right, the page has to have only one of the following characteristics. I repeat, the page only has to have one of the following characteristics to be considered a low quality page, or where they think, and I quote, the low rating is usually appropriate, unquote. So again, this is a direct quote or paraphrase from them. The quality of the main content is low. There is an unsatisfying amount of main content for the purpose of the page. The author of the page or website does not have enough expertise for the topic of the page, and or the website is not trustworthy or authoritative for the topic. In other words, the page/website is lacking EAT. It's lacking EAT. I repeat, if your author does not have enough expertise, or if the website does not have enough third-party recommendation signals out there, enough buzz generated out there, you can get a low-quality rating. That's another way, another piece of evidence directly saying this is part of Panda, right? Third-party recommendations of a positive or negative nature. If the website has a negative reputation, quote-unquote, again, this is a direct quote, if the supplementary content is distracting or unhelpful for the purpose of the page. So, those are some low-quality factors, and they go on and on and on and on. I have a lot more. Also, if there's an unsatisfying amount of website information across the entire website, such as an About Us page, contact page, mission statement, who we are, what we're about, those kind of pages. That the page is lacking helpful supplementary content. That if you're a bigger website, on your right bar or your left bar, whatever, the main content, or on the footer, you better have helpful links there, or helpful video, or helpful information, or a helpful tutorial, something helpful. Because you can get low quality just from that alone. Only one of these things is enough to sink you as low quality. Again, however, it's relative, right? If all your competitors are doing all this right and you only have one thing wrong, it would be like a world of difference. And John Mueller has said that Panda makes a world of difference between sites. Because they had to weight it really heavily, because otherwise, they really had to push the cream to the top and the less helpful sites to the bottom. So, also, if the page design is lacking, I'm going back to quoting them. If the page design is lacking, for example, the page layout or use of space distracts from the main content or makes it in any way difficult to use the main content. So again, my interpretation of that is you can't make them scroll. You can't make the design too busy with too many options. I see this all the time. Designers, really don't know how to make a user interface. And you need a really high quality designer who knows how to make a user interface and has good use of what they call white space. Not just ads jammed in there and links jammed in there all over the place, so that it's so confusing and so convoluted, and there's so much supplementary content that the main content, the main purpose of that page is lost. This will get you hit down by their quality algorithms. Also, if, as I said already, the website is lacking maintenance and updates. So you have to update the page every few months. You have to update the site every few months. You have to have a last updated by that's recent. And you have to have, I would have a recent date in the title, so that the algorithms and the human beings know that this is information for 2014 or 2015 kind of thing. And make sure when it rolls over to 2015 that you update that, right? Okay, also, the list goes on and on. Also, it can be considered low quality content if you're writing quickly with no drafts or editing. So, you can't have any spelling or grammar issues. It has to be good quality writing. Or if you're filling the report with large pictures or other distracting content. So, my interpretation, you can't have a hero image. Don't make them scroll. You can only have a hero image or a big graphic image anywhere in the content if it helps the content. If you're confusing the user at all, you can tell this by your user metrics, and if they're bouncing, that's going to be a problem. Or if you copy the entire report from an encyclopedia or paraphrasing content by changing words or the sentence structure here or there, this is going to be a problem for them, right? You can't have any duplication or aggregation. Or if you're, and I quote, using a lot of words to communicate only basic ideas or facts. For example, and this is their words, pandas eat bamboo. Pandas eat a lot of bamboo. It's the best food for a panda bear. So in other words, you can't have any keyword stuffing, you can't have any repetitive or jilted text, and definitely no spun text. Otherwise, it's all going to be, they can all track that they can track that all algorithmically. Christmas. And definitely it's going to be a problem for you. Okay, I'm not even close to being done on this. The high quality list was big, the low quality list is huge, so there's more. Okay, also it could be a low quality page if you have many ads or is highly distracting ads on the visible part of the page when it first loads in the browser before you do any scrolling, making it difficult to read the main content. Again, so too many ads above the fold. Or you have this is an important one, you have a repeated insertion of ads between sections of the main content. So you have main content and you have an ad, main content ad. So that it jolts the user back and forth between main content and ads. Or you have content, ad pops up, close it, content. Or you have, and this is directly from Google, or you have invasive ads such as pop-ups that cannot be closed. Or you have a large quantity of ads with a relatively small amount of helpful main content. Or you have text ads placed beside or within the site's navigation links, which may confuse users. So again, you can't have ads popping up, you can't have ads interspaced between the text, you can't have too many ads above the fold. The only ads they will allow are supplementary content that are easily ignorable and that do not distract the user too much. That is all low quality content as far as Google is concerned. I repeat, that is all low quality content as far as Google is concerned. And if you say to me, well, Josh, how am I supposed to monetize my website? My answer is to you, tough. Google doesn't care about you monetizing the website. Google doesn't care whether you make money or not. In fact, they prefer you don't so they can make more on their ads. As far as they're concerned, ads, the entire niche of making an information site that makes money from ads, Google just went and just dumped that entire niche, that cottage industry down the tubes. Because those are low quality content sites, they don't want ranking anymore. Point blank, I'm sorry, verbatim, that's it. I know I'm being quick and brutal, but that's the brutal honest truth. That's what Google is doing these days. And so if that is your marketing strategy or part of your marketing strategy, you better start adding quality and removing ads and being very selective what ads you put up there, because it's going to be a problem. And last but not least, here's the last little bit of the low quality list. So keep your checkbook there. And if you have any links that are broken, so make sure you do a spider of your site and find broken links and fix them. If you have any images that may not load or don't load fast enough, it could be low quality, and they'll consider it low quality. And if your content or site is stale or outdated, they will consider it low quality. So this is also going to include, that was a quote from them, and my interpretation means they're also going to include speed issues with this and server errors. So, 53 minutes. So that was my giant, huge list of high quality factors and low quality factors and how Google considers pages, what page quality is. It has to have a purpose, and you have to serve that purpose really, really well. So again, go back, watch the video again, get your checklist out of what the high quality factors and low quality factors are, and go through your site and honestly, or give that checklist to other people, and honestly determine if you think your site is satisfying the high quality and avoiding all the low quality. And there's certain gems in there about specific things that we debated, maybe they were, but they said verbatim, this is a problem you have to watch out for, especially related to ads. So, without further ado, I can't even talk anymore, my tongue is tired, blah, blah, blah. Thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions at all, and there was tons more in this document. I covered like a quarter of it. I just, it's already an hour video. I would have to make like an entire course on this one single document. And it was extremely important for SEO. So if you have any other questions about it, you can always read it. Email me, and I maybe might have a copy of a copy I could send you. Or email me any questions if you want me to summarize it for you. Again, you can email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can follow me at Twitter at joshbachynski, and you can watch more videos where I have more leaks like this, more SEO information from Google, leaks, and SEO experiments that I've done at youtube.com/jbachynski. So again, thanks very much, and good luck in the SERPs.